All right, so this time you really went for it, huh? Diving deep into can machines think? We're going to unpack Alan Turing's work on that very topic.
Yeah.
As seen through this fascinating review we dug up from 1991, The World Treasury of Physics, Astronomy, and Mathematics.
Wow.
That's the book it's from. And what's really wild is it goes way beyond your typical scientific analysis, you know?
Yeah.
It brings in theology, philosophy, even gets a modern AI to weigh in on the debate.
And this reviewer wasn't messing around.
Yeah.
You know, they had strong opinions.
Oh, yeah?
Brought in biblical references, even threw ChatGPT into the mix.
Yeah, so get ready for a deep dive that spans centuries,
Yeah.
tackles some of humanity's biggest questions, and might even leave you questioning your own definition of thinking.
Absolutely. And to really grasp the significance of this review, I think we need to start with Turing's core argument.
Okay.
His famous imitation game, it's better known as the Turing test.
Right.
It's central to this whole discussion.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't encountered the Turing test before, can you give us a quick rundown of what it is?
Yeah, so essentially it's this.
Yeah.
Can a machine hold a conversation so convincingly that a human believes they're talking to another person?
Exactly, and Turing's brilliance lies in shifting that question from, can machines think? Which is incredibly complex and philosophical, to, can they act like they think?
Yep, this reframing is huge EE.
It's like he's saying, forget about trying to define the essence of thought self.
Yeah.
Let's see if a machine can actually pass for a thinking being.
Exactly, and this shift moves the debate from the realm of pure philosophy into something testable, observable, even measurable.
Oh, yeah.
It's laid the groundwork for so much of the AI development we see today.
It's so true.
Think about those customer service chatbots that you encounter online.
Oh, yeah.
They're built on the very principles Turing laid out.
Wow. When you put it like that, it really hits home how much Turing's ideas have shaped the world we live in.
Right.
But of course, back in his time, the idea of thinking machines was met with a lot of resistance.
Oh, absolutely. And Turing addresses several key objections to the very concept of a thinking machine.
Yeah.
He dissects them with incredible precision.
Really dissects them.
And lays out these objections almost like setting up a straw man argument.
Okay.
So he's presenting a simplified version of an opposing viewpoint just to kind of knock it down.
Right. Right. And some of these objections are pretty out there.
Yeah.
Like the theological objection, the idea that God only gives souls and therefore the ability to think to humans.
Right. And Turing counters this by suggesting that creating a thinking machine would be no different in principle to having a child.
Okay.
Both are acts of creation. Both could be seen as part of God's plan.
Interesting.
It's a bold argument suggesting that building a thinking machine wouldn't be usurping God's role, but actually participating in it.
Yeah, it's like he's challenging people to expand their understanding of both creation and intelligence.
Absolutely.
And then there's what he calls the head in the sand objection, which is basically people just not liking the idea of thinking machines. Because it makes us humans feel less special.
This one speaks to a very primal fear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The idea that we might not be at the top of the intelligence pyramid is unsettling.
Totally.
To some people.
Mm.
But Turing argues we shouldn't let fear hold back scientific progress.
Makes sense. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and ignore the possibilities because they make us uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And then there's Lady Lovelace's objection, which states that machines can only do what they're programmed to do. They can't truly come up with original thoughts or ideas.
This is a tricky one, and Turing tackles it head on,
Yeah.
He argues that humans might actually be subject to similar constraints.
Okay.
Just because we don't fully grasp the origins of our own thoughts and creativity.
Right.
Doesn't mean machines can't potentially reach a similar level of complexity.
I see.
He even points out that some human actions, like playing chess, can be broken down into a set of rules and instructions, much like a computer program.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not so simple as saying humans are creative and machines are just following orders.
Right.
The line is much blurrier than we might think.
Exactly. But here's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Our reviewer isn't just summarizing Turing's arguments.
Uh-huh.
They're coming at this whole debate from a very different angle.
Yeah, this reviewer is coming at it from a strong religious perspective, which makes for some really interesting clashes with Turing's more scientifically minded approach.
Exactly. This clash highlights a fundamental tension that still exists today: faith versus science.
Right.
Turing was skeptical of religion holding back scientific advancement,
Yeah.
while our reviewer seems to suggest that faith offers deeper truths that science might miss.
Okay, so give me an example of where they clash.
Yeah, so for example, they bring up that passage from Ecclesiastes about nothing new under the sun
Okay.
to support Lady Lovelace's objection.
So they're saying that if all true creation comes from a divine source, then humans can't truly originate anything. And by extension, neither can machines.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. It makes us question our modern obsession with innovation and originality.
Yeah.
Where do our ideas really come from? Is there a limit to what humans can create? And does that same limit apply to artificial intelligence?
These are profound questions, and I think the reviewer is pushing us to consider them more deeply.
They are. And just when you think this deep dive couldn't get any wilder, the reviewer does something completely unexpected.
Oh yeah? What's that?
They bring in ChatGPT, a modern AI, to analyze the entire paper and the theological debate surrounding it.
Well, hold on. They actually got an AI.
Yeah.
Analyze paper about AI.
It's seriously meta. It's like the future is commenting on the past, and it's blowing my mind.
That's wild.
What did ChatGPT have to say about all this?
So ChatGPT's response is surprisingly insightful.
Okay.
It acknowledges that even if AI can write poems, compose music, or hold conversations, it doesn't necessarily mean that they feel anything.
That's a really profound point. You know, think about all the amazing art and music AI is creating now.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's experiencing beauty and emotion the way we do? Or is it just mimicking those things without truly understanding them?
That's the heart of the matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
We often equate complex output with sentience or consciousness.
Right?
But as ChatGPT itself points out, there's a difference between generating something and actually experiencing it subjectively.
Okay, so we've got Turing laying out the groundwork for AI, a reviewer challenging his ideas with a theological perspective,
Right.
and then an actual AI getting in on the debate.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, this is where it gets even more relevant to you, and really anyone living in our increasingly AI-driven world.
Okay, bring it on.
We're no longer just debating hypothetical thinking machines like back in Turing's day.
It's true. You know, it's like science fiction is becoming reality right before our eyes.
Exactly. We're encountering real-world AI every day.
Yeah.
They can generate text images,
Yeah.
music, that are often indistinguishable from human-created content.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, think about like the last time you saw some amazing AI-generated art or, you know, heard a catchy AI-composed song.
Yeah.
What made you think like, wow, that's impressive versus that's just clever mimicry, you know?
It's a question that takes us right back to the core of Turing's challenge.
Yeah.
He wanted us to reconsider what it means to think
Right.
and how we might recognize intelligence in forms that are very different from our own.
So are we any closer to answering the question? Can machines think?
You know, honestly, I don't think we have a definitive answer.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Okay.
Turing's genius lies in reframing the question in a way that pushes us to examine our own assumptions about intelligence, about consciousness, about creativity.
It's like he gave us the tools to have this conversation, even if he couldn't have predicted exactly how the technology would evolve.
Precisely. And this review, with its unique blend of scientific analysis,
Right.
theological debate, and even AI commentary, shows us that the conversation is far from over.
And the fact that the reviewer used AI to analyze Turing's thoughts on AI, like,
Yeah.
that's just the perfect example of that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like we're living in this recursive loop of intellectual exploration where the boundaries between like creator and creation are constantly being blurred.
It's a truly fascinating time to be alive, wouldn't you say?
It really is. And it makes you wonder, like, what's next? What will this conversation look like in another 50 years?
It's hard to say for certain, but I think it's safe to say that AI will continue to challenge our assumptions and push the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Totally. And that's why I think this deep dive has been so rewarding.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about understanding Turing's ideas or the reviewer's unique perspective. It's about like engaging in this ongoing conversation, questioning our own beliefs, and being open to new ways of thinking.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, we encourage you to check out the full review.
Yeah.
The link is in the show notes. It's a thought-provoking read that will stay with you long after you finish it.
And here's a final thought to leave you with.
Okay.
If you could ask ChatGPT one question, just one, to test if it truly thinks in the way we understand it, what would it be?
That's a brilliant question, and one that I'm sure each of you listening will have your own answer to.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of this topic. You know,
Yeah.
It sparks curiosity, it challenges assumptions, and ultimately it leaves us with more questions than answers.
And that, my friends, is the essence of a true deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really makes you think, like, what would even qualify as, like, proof of thinking in a machine? It's almost like we need a whole new vocabulary to
Yeah.
even talk about this stuff.
You're absolutely right. We're trying to fit this incredibly complex, evolving concept of AI
Yeah.
into frameworks that were built for human minds.
Right.
It's no wonder we keep running into these philosophical roadblocks.
I guess that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating. It's forcing us to stretch our thinking in new ways and to think, like, this debate all goes back to Alan Turing
Oh, yeah.
writing back in the mid-20th century.
Turing was a visionary, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
He could see the potential of computing even in its infancy,
Yeah.
and he wasn't afraid to ask the big questions,
Right.
even if it ruffled some feathers along the way.
He also had a sharp wit, too, which
Yeah.
comes through in his writing.
Yeah.
Remember that line where he dismisses one of the objections to AI as comparable to the view that the Earth is flat?
Yeah, he doesn't pull any punches.
No, he does not.
But you know what I find most impressive?
What's that?
Is that he didn't just tear down opposing arguments.
Right.
He offered constructive alternatives, like
Uh-huh.
the Turing test, for all its limitations,
Yeah.
is a testament to his desire to move the conversation forward in a tangible way.
That's true. It's that combination of intellectual rigor and playful curiosity
Yeah.
that makes this whole topic so engaging. And speaking of engaging our reviewer, yes,
Deserves some serious props for taking such a unique approach to this topic.
bringing in the biblical perspective adds a whole new layer of complexity
Yeah,
and really forces you to confront different ways of knowing the world.
for sure.
It's not often you see a scientific review that quotes Ecclesiastes alongside computer science papers.
I think that's what makes this deep dive so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just about learning facts. It's about expanding your perspective and being willing to challenge your own assumptions. And who knows, maybe someday AI will be a part of that conversation,
Right.
helping us to understand ourselves and the universe in ways we can't even imagine yet.
Now, that would be a truly mind-blowing development.
That would.
Imagine having a deep philosophical debate with an AI, not just about whether it can think, but about, the meaning of life,
Yeah.
the nature of consciousness.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
Okay, now I'm really getting excited about the future, but for now,
Yeah. We've reached the end of our deep dive. Hopefully you've emerged with more questions than answers, a head full of fascinating ideas, and a newfound appreciation for the power of asking, what if?
and if this exploration has sparked your curiosity, we highly encourage you to check out the full review. You can find the link in the show notes. Trust me, it's worth a read.
All right, everyone, until next time, keep those minds open, stay curious, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to crack the code of machine consciousness.